Hey, what's up guys, Nate here. So here about 10 minutes ago, Guspic posted to the Reddit a brand new Reddit APOC 2 development post. We have been waiting on this, anticipating for him to finally post something, and he has finally done it. And here it is, an APOC 2 development discussion, player rewards and cosmetics. This is really amazing, guys. We don't have any photos here, but we're gonna go ahead and read this off. I'm gonna go ahead and give my thoughts on this, so let's go ahead and begin. Apocalypse Rising 2 development is going well. Who Blocks 2's weeks of work on the character are nearly complete. Soon, as I have said many times, we'll have a video uploaded to show off our first character iteration. In other news, we have an architectural style we like, and steady progress is being made on structures. I've also stated on APOC 2's vehicle production is also going well, and we'll be able to show off the next vehicle soon. However, today I want to talk about player rewards and cosmetics. I'd like to preface this discussion by saying that everything stated here could be changed. In fact, the subject for APOC 2 has been planned and replanned a couple times already. I feel like I'm close to nailing it though, so you guys get to hear my thoughts now. Yay! Even though the title says cosmetics, I will not be discussing weapon skins, hair, or faces at this time. For the majority of this discussion, I'm going to be talking about shirts, pants, hats, and accessories. I will commonly refer to these items as clothing. New player and findables. As a new player in APOC 2, you have a relatively small selection of starting clothing to choose from. In the character creator, you will be able to view all of the possible clothing in the game, and maybe even try them on. But initially, you will only be able to spawn with basic options. As you play APOC 2, you will come across plenty of clothing loot in the game. When you find an article of clothing, you'll be able to wear it immediately. However, once you find an article of clothing in the game, it will unlock in the character creator, and you'll be able to spawn with that clothing from then on. So, it says that I call naturally spawning clothing findables. So, I don't know, other than game passes and other things that you had to buy previously for clothing, it looks like you can actually, in the game, find clothing, which makes it a lot more rewarding because it's free, and you look around, oh, I found this article of clothing, and it immediately will become unlocked. And that's really cool. It's really cool. Once you find them, these findables, they're basically available to you forever. With this system, it will be possible and likely a goal for many players to unlock all of the findable clothing in the game. And some clothing will be rare, and some will only spawn in certain locations. So I anticipate getting a complete collection will be highly satisfying. So I'm thinking maybe that there's some clothes that will spawn only in certain military locations or in certain notable areas that might be more dangerous, and players might be camping or waiting for them to spawn. So that sounds like a cool little challenge that they add, and it will be really, really fun to try to find all of the clothing. So trying to find all of the clothing and unlockables, or the findables, as they're known here, will be a lot of fun. There's only one limitation I can think of. If you found and unlocked some cool clothing, dropping it for your friend will not unlock it for them. Anyone will be able to wear the clothing, but in order to unlock clothing in the character creator, you have to find it naturally spawning. Keep that in mind. Okay, that's good. You can't just give it away. You actually have to earn it. You have to find it. See, can't just buy it with Robux. They might have some stuff you can buy with Robux, but you actually have to earn the findables. And that is a really, really cool system in my opinion. I really like this, so I can't wait. And badges and unlockables. Badges is something that I've always wanted more in Apocalypse Rising. It looks like it'll have some sort of in-game achievements, and it says, in APOC 2, badges will likely not be tied to a community group. Instead, badges will act as in-game achievements. Therefore, we can have badges for just about anything you can think of. Repairing vehicles, building bases, killing players, zombies, animals, anything. Most, if not all, badges in APOC 2 will reward the player with an in-game cosmetic once they are earned. Unlike findables, unlockables can only be obtained by earning a badge. As a result, spending time earning badges will make you stand out. Of course, badges range in difficulty, so I could imagine a Marauder item for APOC 2 or some sort of badge like that will reward you with some amazing cool type of unlockable. I can't wait for that. And the coolness of the clothing will scale with the difficulty of the badge, so I can't wait. That's gonna make people really, really want to try to get in-game achievements, because if you're going to be rewarded in that sort of way, people are already rewarded in just getting the Marauder badge, and that's important to a lot of people. But in APOC 2, if you're rewarded something really, really amazing for being able to get like 85 kills or 100 player kills in one life, then that will make the experience much more rewarding. Ideally, unlockables will be related and themed depending on the badge associated with. Example, repairing a car can unlock a mechanic jumpsuit. Now that would be pretty cool. However, it's also possible that earning a badge will unlock an item that's cool, but doesn't have much to do with the badge. We will have to see how this plays out, but you get the rough idea. So I really like the idea of doing in-game things to get the items instead of having to pay Robux for them. and there'll probably still be some Robux and different types of items, but that will give players something to do, especially when they're trying to kill more players. That will really give players, just besides killing players, okay, so I'm here, I'm killing players, I'm a bandit, but what do I get for this? You can get something out of this, which is awesome. It is likely that you'll not be able to drop unlockables for your friends. I want these items to be exclusive, because yeah, why would you want to give someone something you killed 100 players for in one life, and they walk around and it's like a fake type of marauder? And I like how they do not let them be shared. I like how they're exclusive here. Display and purchasables. In the character creator, you will be able to view all of the game's findables, badges, unlockables, and purchasables. Since APOC 2 will not be a universe, the character creator will function as the lobby for the game. So I want the character creator to clearly lay out what clothing you have unlocked, what your clothing can unlock, and what you need in order to unlock any particular clothing. The third category of clothing is purchasables, which can only be bought with Robux. Similar to unlockables, these items will not be available anywhere else in the game. You also won't be able to share them with your friends. So purchasables are bought with Robux, and you can't share them with your friends because you paid Robux for them, so they're yours. That's cool. So they have purchasables, and they have things you can buy with Robux and things you can earn in the game, which all good games should have themes. Some cosmetics in APOC 2 will take a less serious approach compared to APOC. I feel that APOC 2 needs some more silly outfits and hats along with clothing that you would normally expect to find, which is really cool in my opinion, because when I'm picturing APOC 2, I'm really picturing more of a, I guess, not exactly a friendly survival game, but just like he said, just silly. All these development updates have really been leading me to believe that this game's going to be pretty cool in that way, like silly, and especially with some of the melee weapons like the lightsaber. That's kind of quirky and cool like that. While I'm not entirely sure how silly the options should be, I would love to see a handful of clothing that stands out. These can come in the form of findables, unlockables, and purchasables, of course. I wouldn't want to make all of the silly clothing cost Robux, for example. So it looks like they're going to be making a bunch of different things you can unlock and buy, and I would love for them to see certain event items that maybe if you buy with Robux, you can find for a certain amount of time, maybe during Christmas time or some sort of a holiday, or even items that you can unlock certain ways without having to pay Robux that are like events. So that would be really, really cool with the findables and unlockables. So the next one is emotes. Although this is a relatively new idea, emotes could be short animations that well express emotions. Taunts, gestures, and quick stances would be earned as unlockables or purchasables, which is really cool because APOC, you can't picture emotes now. And when we're talking about silly and the arcade kind of game, basically, I'm just really thinking of Unturned, but I really think APOC 2 is going to be special in its own way. That's really cool in this game. It says emotes should not be confused with something like a surrender animation. Things like squad portraits. I anticipate squad portraits to look pretty cool if everyone uses a different emote before taking the screenshot. Anyway, we'll see if this makes it into APOC 2, fingers crossed. So he wants to do some sort of emote system, but he doesn't want to do anything like surrender or anything to do with the game. So that's kind of cool how you can move your character like that for screenshots and just different things like that. That just wraps up this post. I hope everyone is looking forward to find, unlock, and buy cool stuff for their Apocalypse Rising 2 Survivor. I'd love to hear your feedback in the comments. I will link this, guys, to you. You can go ahead and reply to this and give your thoughts on this. This is really cool. I really like the idea of the unlockables. That's just going to give the game so much more to do. It's going to make it so much more fun. Go ahead and tell me what you guys think about this in the comments below. And thanks for watching, guys. And don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for some more APOC 2 update videos. Peace out, guys.